Hello there. What is going on, everyone? We've got a brand new, officially announced Star Wars game to talk about today. It is called the Battle of Hoth. It's coming to you from Days of Wonder, designed by Richard Borg and Adrian Martin. It is going to be using that command and colors system, very similar to Memoir 44, but with a couple of little extras. It looks pretty exciting and should play fairly quickly, so you can get multiple games in. A lot of cool stuff to talk about with this game. If you guys are interested in Star Wars games, miniatures games, tabletop games, board games, all of the above, any of the above, be sure to click that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And, like the video, share the video if you want. Let me know what you think of this game down in the comments section below. And if you think that there's more of these coming, because what we're looking at right here on the screen is the cover art, box art for this game. Of course, we see the Days of Wonder logo. It's marked as ages 8 and up, 2 to 4 players, 30 minutes. But also this symbol right here, galactic battles, meaning that this is probably not the only battle that they will make a version of this game for. Now, I want to point out that the Battle of Hoth isn't just a single firefight. There's, it looks like this is kind of looking at more of a prolonged version of that battle where there is going to be like multiple rounds because there's a sort of campaign system. We've got to look. There are AT-AT walkers. I call them AT-ATs. Some people prefer AT-ATs. This is a dice-based system as well, and a card system. So there's a little bit of card draw. There's a little bit of activating units in a section of the board based on the card that you draw, and you have to be, very judicious on how you use those cards, because if you activate one side too much, then you run out of activations for them, and then you spend one side too soon. You're not going to be able to activate them later in the round. So that's a big part of the strategy of Memoir 44 is also, is using those cards at the right time, and also aiming for the shield generator just as soon as you can. Don't tell Lord Vader, to land his troops too quickly, because then those shuttles come down and then they bounce off of that shield generator, and then it fries the engines, and then it's a mess. You do not want Lord Vader mad at you, so you got to bring down the shield generator at just the right time. So I'm going to read to you a little description that they have over at Board Game Geek from this game. It says, the Battle of Hoth is a game of heroic and fast-paced battles of miniatures that's set on the ice planet of Hoth and reenacts one of the most famous scenes of Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Using the popular command and color systems, players take turns choosing command cards each turn to activate units and decide how to move and attack across 17 scenarios included in the box. For a deeper gaming experience, and here's where it gets interesting. It's already interesting. Here's where it gets more interesting. For a deeper gaming experience, players have the option to add leader cards to their battle for support from 6 iconic Star Wars characters. Or they can try the 2 multi-scenario campaigns in which successes and failures shape the next battle. Now, this is a scenario-based game, so much like Memoir 44, you're not just setting up an open battlefield and saying, okay, I'm just going to attack you, or you're just going to attack me, attacker, defender. Games like X-Wing that just kind of had, that kind of open battlefield, and then you drop some asteroids and play. It's not like that. You can replace very specific battles. There's going to be tiles that can outline the battlefield. Granted, it may all be a white game board. There may be snow, but there may be rocks and craters and caves and glaciers and ice and things like that along the way that kind of form the battlefield and allow you terrain to either work against you or work for you in certain battles. Also, I think this is cool that they've broken this into 17 different scenarios, so a lot of different parts of this engagement, because frankly, if you think about the lore of Star Wars, the Battle of Hoth is a losing battle for the Rebels. So if it's going to be, even remotely, accurate to the canon of the show, it's probably going to be a kind of a tipped battle towards the Empire. And at least that's one of my guesses, based on how a lot of World War II scenario games, how Memoir 44, some of the scenarios that I've played of that. I haven't played it extensively, but I've played it a little bit. And so based on how that works, I'm imagining that there will be certain scenarios that might be even. There'll be certain ones that are pitched more towards the Empire, and certain ones that are pitched a little bit more for the Rebels. Could be alternate win conditions for the Rebels, like yeah, they're going to take the base, but you've got to hold out long enough. So if you can last enough turns to evacuate, then you'll still win, or something like that. Either it may not be too feasible for the rebels to just completely repel all of the Empire's firepower. At a certain point they're gonna have to evacuate, but it'd be interesting to see how you can kind of turn the tides in some of these battles. The other interesting thing is that there are 6 basically hero cards or leader cards that you can add. I don't recall if the base game of Memoir 44 that I had played had those or not. But again, when you're kind of reskinning or re-releasing games, like when you get different versions of Monopoly and all these other popular games, different versions of Ticket to Ride, each different version, in addition to just being a reskin, tends to add something that's a little new and something a little extra. And so, granted, I think you're getting new stuff here because obviously an AT-AT is not going to be like the same as a tank. It should be significantly more powerful than a typical tank. So I wouldn't be surprised if there were some mechanical differences here. But on top of that, the leaders will potentially add a whole new depth of play. And it seems like that's like a module or an option to play, which I think is pretty interesting. Now, also, if you look at kind of this setup of the board here, you're seeing some of the cards, you're seeing a kind of like the dashboard kind of hiding your cards from your opponent, and some of the different units that it looks like will be available to players who have the game. It looks like we've got a pretty interesting selection. In this particular image, I love this one because there's 3 walkers. I have said for a very long time that it's kind of a shame that Star Wars Legion came out and in the way that it did. And what I mean by that is that it came out in a certain scale that sort of made it prohibitive to run something as big as an AT-AT or any things even larger than that. If you were to, in theory, if you ever did the Battle of Crate from Episode 8, that had vehicles even bigger than that. And so, you take a certain part of Star Wars and you say this can never be done in Star Wars Legion, and and you look at even games that are a little bit larger in scale, like Star Wars Rebellion. Yeah, you do have some of those vehicles, but that one's more of an abstract game, and it's not really allowing you to recreate specific battles as much. And so here's a game that's letting you recreate, in my opinion, the most significant ground battle of the entire saga, followed closely by the Battle of Naboo. But I feel like this is going to be this is awesome. So I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see 3 AT-ATs. I wonder how many actually come in the box. I'm presuming at least 3, possibly more. I could see 4 or even 5 for certain scenarios theoretically. So that one sounds really cool. Looks like we've got snowtroopers in there. For the Empire, I'm just seeing AT-ATs and snowtroopers. For the Rebels, I do see rebel troopers, I see snow speeders, and I see turrets. So we definitely have things like that. In different cards that you can see there. You can make out speeder, assault, defensive position, artillery barrage, raid, and diversion. It looks like there's some artwork on here too. Looks like Han Solo is in this card down here. So it's cool stuff. Maybe Han Solo will be one of the leaders. I imagine characters from Empire Strikes Back, from the Battle of Hoth, will be there. Maybe Leia, maybe General Riken, possibly Luke Skywalker. Being like a snowspeeder kind of leader. Taking down maybe Wedge. I don't know. Obviously, General Veers should definitely be in here for the Empire. Darth Vader should probably be in here. Maybe Admiral Ozzel or Captain Piet. I don't know. There's definitely some different options on what they might include, but a lot of really cool options for a game like this. It looks cool. I'm excited for it. It looks very cool. This was initially teased on Facebook last week. I want to say, maybe 5, 6, 7 days ago. They've been dropping little teasers. Days of Wonder has been on their social media. And, it started with these cards. I first saw these cards and I did a video. I'm like, there's a new game coming. Could be a card game, but the hexes imply that it's probably not. And then, more and more teaser images were available. And it seemed, pretty clear that this was going to be a Memoir 44 style game. That was definitely the prediction that was made. It was nice to see that it will be using the command and colors system that we use in Memoir 44. So pretty cool experience, a pretty cool time to be a Star Wars gamer. And of course, we'll be picking this one up and we'll be looking at it when it comes out. This is definitely one to keep your eye on. I don't know if it has a specific release date yet. They are aiming for summer of 2025, but that could be June, it could be July. You know, I'm not sure exactly when that's going to be. I imagine it will be out before Gen Con, or at least available at Gen Con, but that's always a guess, and who knows, you know, what will happen with shipping and tariffs and all of that other stuff, if there could be delays because of these things or not. So that's always, you know, anytime there's like a release game, they say summer 2025, always take that with a grain of salt and say, you know, that could easily get pushed back, since everything tends to get pushed back. But if you want to see more when this comes out, you know, definitely check us out, and make sure you subscribe, all that good stuff. We talk a lot about Star Wars games here on the channel, and this one looks like it's going to be very fun. So I'm really looking forward to it. Let me know what you're looking forward to, and also let me know what are some of the other versions of this that you think we might see with this Galactic Battles logo. Does this mean this is the first of several new Command and Colors / Star Wars versions? Do you think we'll also see the Richard Borg version of like Red Alert, which was a space combat version of Memoir 44? Do you think we'll see that ported over into Star Wars? Because again, Asmodee has this huge Star Wars license. By the way, Days of Wonder is an Asmodee company. They have this huge Star Wars license. They're doing nothing with ship combat right now, right? At least for board games. I mean, I guess there are some ships in Star Wars Unlimited, but they're not like, you know, X-Wing is gone, Armada is gone. They're not making anything new for Rebellion, which had ships. So, you know, this is a perfect opportunity for them to, you know, use some of those sculpts. It looks like they did some of the stuff from Rebellion in this game, you know, with the AT-AT walkers and snow speeders and the troopers and stuff. They're not the exact same miniatures, but they might be derived from some of the same sculpts, you know. So it's, you know, if they can leverage some of that work that's already been done, I think it'd be a really cool opportunity. So let me know what you think the next game in this line will be, because it seems like it's the first of many to come. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. I will talk to you later. May the Force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all, and always wash your socks.